Hey guys, Roy here with Capital Presence. I got a lot of feedback and I get a lot of questions about creating views and using views in Microsoft SharePoint. So I wanted to go ahead and do a video for you guys today just so you could have a little bit more information about it. So quickly, let's review. So getting started with SharePoint Online, as always, we start at office.com. That'll be your landing page for all things O365. The SharePoint application is in your hub, so you'll be able to click on SharePoint right there, and you'll be able to walk into to your SharePoint environment. You'll be able to see only the sites that you have permissions to, and you can group favorite sites for ease of access. Accessing SharePoint, there it is right there on your hub, or you can also use the waffle, as I call it, in the top left corner. So from your SharePoint landing page, we would want to go first to the list or library that you want to create as a view. You can do this by clicking on the list. You can find on the left navigation, you can go under Site Contents. That will show you everything within your environment. It'll show you all your lists, all your libraries, and then pretty much everything else within your environment. So you'll see pictures, any type of scripts that anyone's written you, file documents, anything. It's Site Contents is all of the content on your SharePoint environment. So if you do not see Site Contents in the left navigation, you can click on the gear in the top right. The gear will then have a drop down to Site Contents, and if you do not see it there, you don't have permissions. So you need to contact your administrator, and unfortunately, we cannot go any further with this video. But if you do have permissions, we're going to go ahead and go to the next slide. So choosing to create a view. So first off, why would we want to create a view? Let's say that we have a list full of a ton of data, but it's only relevant to certain people. So a view is a snippet of the data filtered. Think of it as a filter in an Excel sheet where maybe you have a lot of data. Some of it is birthdays, some of it is start dates, some of it is end dates for employees. Maybe you only want to see birthdays. So then you could create a view where it only shows you birthdays, or maybe you only want to see start and end dates, or maybe you only want to see start dates, or maybe you only want to see full-time employees. So it's taking the columns and the metadata that we talked about in a previous video, and then creating unique views or snippets or permanent filters on that data. So how to choose a view? So, the choices, right? It's there's always a lot to choose from, and we're going to narrow that down and break down exactly what are the best ones to use and some of the most popular ones. So within your app in the O365 environment, that's the new experience. So we're not using the old experience, but we're using the new experience. You can hide, show, and order fields or columns simply by clicking the field, and then you can do then on all items or whatever it is that you're clicking to hide or remove from a view, then you can click on a drop down and say save as view. It's as simple as that. Then you can rename the view and so on and so forth. By clicking on all items, assuming that you're on the all items view, you'll see the drop down. That's where you can do that save as view. Alternatively, and the more traditional way of doing this, you can go to list in the top banner, the ribbon, and then you would choose create a view. Uh, that's how you get the more customization of it. It'll bring up more choices than just kind of saving the current view as a view. So that's the way that I like to do it, is you go click on the list, in the ribbon you'll then see list, then you'll choose create a view. That will create one from scratch. But alternatively, O365, which we'll go over here live in a second, will let you click on whether you want to hide or show a column, uh, and and then you can save anything that you're currently looking at as a view, which is a pretty cool feature. Um, but anything for um, if you're developing anything for multiple people to use, it's not always the most effective. So the gear, the gear is your friend, right? So it's my starting place for pretty much everything within Microsoft SharePoint. You'll want to use this to get into your list settings. So this is a way within the new experience where you can kind of get around the ribbon of creating a view. So we'll go to gear, we'll go to list settings, and then that will bring you to a page of list settings. This is where you can create columns. This is where you can create forms, uh, change what shows up on a form, etc. But if you scroll all the way down to that page, you'll see a little area called views, and it'll show you what your current default views are. Currently, based upon these slides, there's only one view, and that's the all items view. So we would then click create view. That would then bring you to choices of what types of views you can create. There are standard views, there's calendar views, there's Gantt charts, custom. When in doubt, choose standard. Um, it's basically a blank view that you can customize to say whatever it is that you want to choose. If you know you want a calendar, obviously choose the calendar view. Um, Datasheet views are so that you can live edit. You can do that in a standard view too, but it's only for live edits, so just beware of that. And then a Gantt view, you'll name the start and end dates, and it'll line up your tasks. So I believe you need predecessors in that as well to work. So if you get frustrated by creating a Gantt chart and you don't have everything lining up and it just looks like one straight line, then that's why you don't have predecessors or start and end dates. So like I said, when in doubt, choose a standard view. So that's what we're going to do. So now we have pretty much created a view. The view exists, but now we got to name it. First, we want to name it. So we want to call it whatever you want. You could call it, you know, my favorite view. You could call it birthdays. You could call it start dates. Whatever it is, it would be relevant. It is important to know that people will be able to see the name of it when selecting a view. So don't name it something ridiculous. Name it something that makes a bit of sense. Then you can choose to make it private or public. So if you make it a private view, then you can name it as ridiculously as you want because you'll be the only one who'll be able to see it and it'll work as a private view. So if you want to name it something stupid, then go right ahead and make it a private view. But public views, it's best practice to, make them make sense. Then you'll want to choose which fields you want to display in that order. And so you simply check the fields. There's check boxes. You can kind of see it here, and we'll go a little deeper as we go through this in the video. But you see the check boxes right there on the fields. You can choose which ones you want to appear, and then to the right, there's a drop-down order of 1, 2, 3, 4 through 27, or however many there are. And then you can just order them through in numerical order, and that's the order in which they'll show up. There is additional information here. You can write uh, uh, different filters. You can write if-then statements, stuff like that. So you could say like show, um, only show things that are assigned to me. That's a little bit down. We'll go over that in a little bit, but that's the last bullet point there is choose additional options if necessary. So you could choose styling, grouping, play with it. So accessing it and use. So now if we go back into that list, you'll notice that now there are multiple things within the drop-down list. It no longer just says all items. So now you can see testing view, which was the name of what we created. Uh, Now you'll be able to access it from a drop-down, and anybody else who goes into it will be able to access this as well. You can place these views and lock down these controls so people can only see certain views, or you can put um, permissions on a web part so that people can only see certain things. But traditionally, if this is a public view, then you'll be able to see, and anybody else will have access to this view, and now you'll be able to quickly and efficiently sort through your data. So you have a view. Congratulations. You can now pinpoint information. You can view and display information that's important to situations or people. So if you have an accounting or something like that, you have a large list and you only want to see the information that is important to the accounting department, you can create a view on that. Views can be deleted at any time. They can also be renamed. So if you went in and you named something ridiculous that doesn't make any sense, and someone says, hey, that doesn't make any sense, you can go in there and rename it to something that your team all agrees upon. You can't change a view into another type. That's important. So if you choose a calendar view, you can't go into that calendar view and then change that type into something else. You'd have to just create a new view. So before we get into that, I'm going to go ahead and do a demo. So um, we just talked about creating a view, so I'm going to go into our sandbox environment. I'm going to go ahead and if I could get it to pop up, there we go. So I am in our sandbox environment now. I'm going to go ahead and go into our site contents like we talked about. There we go. I'm going to go into the testing list. I'll choose test. I'll choose demo list. That looks like a good one. Um, so this already has a testing view, so I'll make sure to create a new one called testing 2 for you guys. But as you can see, here is that testing view um, that I had created. So, but I'll go ahead and create it with you. So we're going to go into list settings. We're going to scroll all the way down here at create view. Going a little slow today. We're going to choose standard view because when in doubt, if we wanted a calendar view, that's where it would be Gantt view, custom, data sheet. I usually only use standard or calendar. It's very rare that I'm using any of the others. So I'm going to go ahead and hit standard view. It is important to note that there are options over there where you can create a view from another view. You can save these views as templates. So I'm going to call this test 2. I will keep it a public view. I don't want to create a personal view. Um, and then I'll say app created by, app modified by, if there's any attachments, and I'll move that to the front. Ah, my mouse isn't working for that. There we go. So I moved attachments to the front. I scrolled down. This is where you can sort ascending, descending. And this is where I was talking about you can filter out. So if I wanted to say created by is equal to, I could say me. And the way that I know about me, other than working with SharePoint, is it does give you a little bit of blurb of certain things that you can use, like today and me. So you could say if you were wanted to show only items that were created today and by me, you could say created by me and created is equal to today. And then we can scroll down. We could group. We can style. Let's give it a shaded view. And we can change the item limit to, it's defaulted to 30. I think the max you can put is 100. So we'll go ahead and bump it up. And we'll go ahead and hit OK. And now we have the view. As you can know, I haven't created anything today, so nothing shows up. So if I were to create something, this is a test. Approval is undecided, no attachments. I'm gonna go ahead and hit save. And now, once it loads, we should be able to see that and it should pop up into this view. So if we were to switch views and go into the testing view, we see demo was a previous item and this is a test. That's, if we go into all items, it's there as well. And then if we go into the test 2, I should see the other one, but it's not showing up. If I wanted to edit this view, and I do because I want to see what's going on, I could just go back into test 2, and then I could remove any of these that I wanted. So created by is equal to me. I'm going to keep that. And created is equal to, oh, I put not equal. That's why. I want is equal to today. There we go. So that's how to edit a view as well. So you just got a 2 for 1. There you go. So now I see that as well. So now if I were to go to all items, I see all items. If I wanted to show assigned to, created by me today, there it is. I see this doesn't have any attachments. So there you go. That is your walkthrough on how to create a view. Um, so now you can work wherever. You can store documents, be accessed anywhere from any time using that metadata. You're putting it to work. If you guys are unfamiliar about how to create a column or how to create metadata, go ahead and look at some of these other views in the past. I think I just uploaded one. It was made private previously. It's now public so that everyone can learn how to use metadata and learn how to create columns. So there you go. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Support at Capital Presence, or you can reach out to me directly, Roy G. Edwards on Twitter, Instagram. I honestly don't know my Facebook, but if you find me on LinkedIn, Roy Edwards at Capital Presence. But if you search for Roy Edwards with Capital Presence in the search, you'll be able to find me on LinkedIn as well. Feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to help you guys. Capital Presence across all social media networks. So Facebook, Capital Presence, Instagram, Capital Presence, Twitter, Capital Presence, Twitch, Capital Presence. We're happy to help. So thanks for watching, guys, and until next time.